Welcome back to 1023 Culture. We are going into a program
Hello,
called
welcome to
EDMERSIV.
EDMERSIV.
We have a little robot that's
My name is Goldie, and I'll be your trusty robotic companion. I'll guide you through the experience, but if you grow tired of my soothing voice, feel free to click on me and I'll be silenced.
Boom. Silence, okay. So it's telling us what to do, and... Oh, no, I silenced her, but now I can't bring her back up. Okay. So, there is no turning aspect. Hit your sticks and nothing happens, okay? But this is just a point and click. So different things going on. I don't know what this is. This looks like something we might want to check out here. The Art of Arts. Try to paint the right color inside each target fast. You might have to mix, throw one of the balls from the bases, or use one of the shields to deflect the cannonballs. Okay. So the idea is that, okay, so we could actually put other people in here, apparently. So this is really, it's designed to give kids, a basis. And you can tell by the robot.
Besides moving around, can you think of other roles that our skeleton has?
So
Take a closer look at our friend's chest.
Different
this
purposes
group of ribs has the very important task of protecting his heart and his...
We go over to... Oh,
these animals might not be as good protagonists for YouTube videos as your cat, but their group is pretty important and numerous.
Yeah, that's the inside
they make up
of a
to
spider.
97% of all animal species on Earth.
Seeing that.
A few examples of their importance. Without invertebrates, the flowers' pollination,
breeze through
the
a bunch of
water's
stuff.
filtration, and the soil's Have you ever noticed that objects can have very different colors? And did you know that,
think of the voice.
depending
The
on the
voice
light
is
that you project on them, the color you see can change?
It's a text-to-speech voice.
You've probably played with some of these. Observe how they can come in lots of different
shapes
all
magnetics.
and sizes.
That's cool. Let's see what's inside the lab.
Welcome to our science lab.
All right. So you can actually do some sort of science in here, little projects and neat stuff like that. So, that's neat. Okay, so... Okay. We got a little video here or something? I don't know. Is that HTML? I don't know. There might be some broken things in here. I can't promise that. Nobody's talking to me. I can't really interact with anything, can I? All right. So this might be a broken area. I don't know. Let's go back to the museum. So let's move on to math.
Have you ever thought that lines can be related in very different ways? For example, in a piece of furniture, some of its lines intersect, others are parallel, and others yet do not fit into any of these situations. Do you know how a cab's fare is calculated?
I like the idea behind
it. Which parameters are considered in this calculation?
And you see,
if you thought about the distance traveled and the time required to make that travel, you're right.
So
the way that each of them is considered in this calculation. What if we could grab a hexagon and extrude it? Which geometrical solid would we obtain? This object can help us answer that question. We would obtain a prism, in this case, a hexagonal regular prism. Now, imagine the net of these solids, which are the polygons that match the shape of each face. As you can see, the regular prism is a polyhedron with two opposite and congruent bases, which have the shape of an N.
Okay.
Wow, these polygons are so well-shaped and symmetrical. I wonder if they have a specific...
We're going to move on to the multiplayer. Just look in here. Obviously, there's nobody else here, which just, I guess, doesn't surprise me. From all the way back in 2016, if they had gotten some attention back then, they probably would have gotten some more future to it. But this is the kind of thing you can do. That's actually I think that's kind of what I want to show here. Is these are the things you can do with VR for teaching and learning. This one's much more expansive than some of the other things I've looked at. And again, it is free. So go back to the Coliseum.
Oh, great! Okay. Welcome to the Coliseum. Okay.
So every time you go to one of these spots, it'll give you more information about it.
Similar to the logic used in the museum, click on the change view icon that looks like an eye to teleport to that location. It is estimated that about 50,000 people watched daily free death combats over the 400 years of the Colosseum's operation.
So...
This is how the public would watch the combats.
Okay. What's that? And that takes us out of the Colosseum. I had a little trouble earlier. I wasn't able to get out of the Colosseum. But now I can get out at least. Okay, again, I keep on trying to hit my sticks to snap turn. But that is what it is. Okay.
Hey, when you look up at the sky and see a bunch of stars, which size do you imagine they have?
Yeah.
Are they smaller than the Earth?
Jupiter, Sun, Sirius.
Well, perhaps you'll have a hint by remembering the Sun.
More information on
it
even
is
larger
bigger
stars
than the
today.
Earth,
Again,
right?
This is 9 years old.
But would there be any stars? If you were to choose, which representation of the world do you think is more practical to analyze? A flat map or a globe?
So
it actually depends. For some situations, the flat representations are more useful.
So this
they
is
are easier
EDMERSIV,
to store,
just
facilitate the measurements
idea
of the surface being mapped, and can show large portions of the Earth's surface at once.
I'm going to be checking out more stuff in the future.
But as some cartographers noticed since the 16th century, turning a globe into a plane does not come... Hey, quick question. Do you often watch the news? If you do, you can probably easily recognize the object in front of you.
So,
did you know that many of the equipment deployed in conflict nowadays were developed and first used during World War I?
More stuff like this. There's a ton of free stuff.
This is a lot due to the results of the Industrial Revolution.
The MetaQuest store.
The U.S. and Western Europe achieved a wider manufacturing capacity, which boosted the development of new weapons. This wider capacity also boosted other industries, which therefore needed more raw materials and new markets to sell their products.
You look at the building.
At a certain point, those powerful countries started to...
There. They did a lot of work in the place to build this up. Somebody put a lot of time into it. Some team really worked on it. I'd like to see, and this is pre-COVID that it was built, 2016. And why there are no updates at all? Well, that's why we have some broken links. That's why some things don't work right. Which is too bad. But if you have something that you want to look at, that you looked in Steam and said, here's an educational thing I want to look at, that's great. Let me know. Let me know in the comments down below, or something in the MetaQuest store as well. I'm looking at free stuff because parents with kids who are doing this kind of thing, they don't always have a lot of money. So, sometimes having something, there was the last one I posted that was OK Science. It's in a pilot program, it says, and it's like $1,200 for 6 months. So it's $200 a month right now in the pilot program, with the idea that it was going to go down to $200 for an annual thing, which is still excessively high in my book. There was the other one that we looked at that was where we looked at we looked at some the chemistry thing, which was Sama. Sama so far is winning at this point in time out of the 3 I've looked at now. Sama Learning is $25 for a subject for an entire year, which and it's all designed around teaching, and tutoring. Pulling the interest in, and we looked at the chemistry on that one. Any other subjects would require the subscription of it for a year. I think it's worth it. $25 for a full year to your student is suffering in one subject, in math or in history or in science, and give them this kind of opportunity to see things differently, to learn differently. I think that's really important, especially, these days when people, we have such cookie cutter schools, and the schools don't want to change how they're doing things. We're having changes in the school system happening. I think that's neat. We're going to see what happens in the future. Some people think it's, it's horrible. So I think the school system had become so rigid. I think it's a great thing to just kick it back to locals to have more strength and power, so that the parents have more strength and power. And this is a place where you could go to really to do more education. If you're a homeschooler, I think there's great subjects in here to help teach your kids. It would be, it's like, okay, kids, we're going to spend 15 minutes or half an hour in VR studying this subject. So we're going to keep doing stuff like this. I'll probably keep talking just like that because I really do get excited about that. The idea of homeschooling your kids with VR as a tool, not an exclusive. It's a tool. You can look at things like, you go over here and you look at some of these natural things, and then you take your homeschool students and you talk to them about the things that they saw in VR versus what they're seeing in real life. I think it's great. You come here and you look at some of these things, and then you go to a museum and they can see some of these other things, really cool stuff. So, you can actually go someplace and you can see a tank. There are museums where you can see things like this. You can see these models like this, and if you have the money to travel, travel, go take a look at things. But this is, I'm thinking in terms of people. It's difficult for families to get out, especially today. The economy being what it is, things costing so much more. You want to complain about politics? Go ahead, but that's not what I'm talking about. Just in general, things cost a lot more, and your average family really can't afford to do that much travel. Raising kids is expensive. So check it out. This is EDMERSIV, and here's the place you would be in. You come in at. You have this silly little robot to do all the talking for you. You can, thank goodness, I can shut you up. But you can read it too. So here it. If I turn it on.
Pretty boring, huh? That'd be similar to a situation the Germans went through.
So just talking about this thing right here, this church and the different things that happened in history, historically in this with this building, So, this is really cool stuff. You come over here and you see this old castle, developed in castles like this one. Yeah. These are all just really cool stuff, and I encourage. It's a loom. This is textiles. Yep. So the fact that you can look at this thing in motion. The shuttle shooting across, and how it all happened to create all this fabric and really grow the textile industry and put higher quality textiles out. I think that's neat that you can actually see that in action. You can see the gears. It would be nice to have some smooth motion or even some teleport to go around. I think the motion would be better, but looks like they put all of their efforts into the graphics. And again, we're talking 2016. The fact of the matter is, this, the requirements for this particular program in your computer are pretty low compared to a lot of stuff. So anyway, check it out. EDMERSIV, EDMERSIV, I believe it was, and I will definitely put that on the screen for you, so you can take a look at it and check it out. There's still a lot of usable stuff in here, a lot of broken links. Sorry, but it is from 2016. I want to kind of point that out that there's been stuff around for a long time in VR. You just have to go looking for it. So we'll go looking for another thing here later on. Otherwise, enjoy. Thanks a lot for coming. 1023 Culture. I'm out of here. Thanks a lot.